Hello and welcome back to the Inventors Arena. I'm Ed and this is Jeff. And today we're going to be discussing avoiding the pitfalls of trademark name selection. That sounds pretty interesting, Jeffrey. That sounds like something you might know something about.
I might know a little thing or two about that.
Well, tell us about it, Jeffrey.
Well, as a trademark attorney of 10 years, before I can proceed further, let me get the housekeeping work out of the way here. This is not legal advice. This is strictly my opinion, unless stated otherwise. But when it comes to picking a trademark, it's very, very, very important to do this with proper diligence. Selecting a name and beginning to market and invest money in the wrong name will lead to tremendous frustration, time loss, and potential damages for trademark infringement. So it is very important to put due diligence.
Get off on the right foot, right? And this is especially, I think this is a great subject because our audience is generally inventors and startups or young businesses. And so from the beginning, what should we be looking at, Jeffrey?
So when you pick a trademark, trademarks have what's called inherent strength. Some trademarks are stronger than others. The general rule of thumb is the less a trademark name describes what the business is selling, the stronger it is. If a name is more descriptive and it's simply describing what it is you're selling, it's not inherently very strong.
So could you give us an example of that, Jeffrey?
Sure. Apple is a good example of a strong trademark. Apple represents computers. There is no relationship between the word Apple and the products that the company sells, which are computers. Whereas if you wanted to open up a fruit stand and you wanted to call it Apple, well, that's pretty descriptive of one of the core pieces of fruit that you would sell there. So it's not very strong. So right off the bat, you want to have some uniqueness in the name so that it's not strictly describing the products or their services being sold.
Very good. Maybe you can provide an example of one of the inventions that we worked on there, and Jeffrey helped with the trademarking on that. That's a good one to go with too. We always think it's important to give real life examples, and so that our audience can see the importance of doing it and how to do it, right? And how it relates to what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a product that Ed and I are partners in with a third who's the inventor of this. It's a marinade injector. Basically, this would house different marinades or other flavors. It has an integrated needle, and you can basically squeeze inject the flavor into whatever food product you like.
Serve fruits or whatever, yeah.
We initially called it a marinade injector or marinade injection system. Highly descriptive of what it is. Not the best trademark. After a couple years, when we got deeper into prototyping and we were getting closer to marketing the product, we wanted to come up with a better name or a better trademark for the product itself. And so we came up with Flavor N-Fusor, spelled N-F-U-S-O-R. So it has some uniqueness to it. It's not spelled the conventional way, infusor. And we also added some design elements. We show the word flavor in a cursive font that almost looks like it could be liquid, leading into an outline of the actual product itself. And it's maybe hard to see, but it does have the needle pointing and sticking into the O in infusor, with a little bit of the flavoring leaking out of it. So it suggests when you look at it what it is. That is an inherently strong trademark.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example too, because it shows to the customer that walks up to it and looks at it on the shelf. Oh, okay, it's got a needle and it's meant for sticking in, and infusor, that's a interesting name, and it's for infusing a little bit, but then it's something that sticks in the mind of the person. So the next time,
No pun intended,
they go, next time they go along in the shelf, they're like, what's the name of that? Oh, infusor. That's right. And it's very memorable, right? And I think that's a super important part of it, because it's a lot of the things you can have the world's greatest invention or business, and if you're not marketing it and showing how unique and distinctive it is, and kind of giving clues how to use it, and having your QR codes and all your stuff for more information, or the whatever's the product's recipe in it, or whatever you need in that. I think it's a very valuable tool, because so that's one example of an invention that's in the food product industry. And of course, our inventors and inventors around the world use all kinds of products over all kinds of industries, and so it's valuable to learn these things. And it's, if you can get a name like Apple, or say N-Fusor, I don't know if it'll be the next Apple out there, but it gives a place in the market for that, and it's recognizable.
Mm-hmm. And so then the next question is, how do you know if you can use a name? There are other companies out there that, let's say, for hypothetically, are using the word N-Fusor. How do I know that I can trademark this and that I won't get in some kind of trouble for trademark infringement down the line? So the main question when it comes to trademarks, and whether or not one trademark that has already been in existence would be confusingly similar with a new trademark, is they look at something called likelihood of confusion. Would consumers be confused between who the source is if they saw both of these competing trademarks in the marketplace? And that's a very in-depth question. And it's probably the number one reason why I think people tend to underestimate trademarks in general, is what is likelihood of confusion? Over the years, there has been many cases that have been litigated that really analyzes confusion. And the most prominent case, and we're based in Arizona, which is in the Ninth Circuit, is a case called Sleekcraft, the Sleekcraft case. And in that case, they identified multiple factors, approximately 8 separate factors that courts will analyze when they determine if there is a likelihood of confusion. Some of these factors include how close the names are. How do they resemble each other when spoken out loud? Are they phonetically equivalent? How close are the services or the goods being sold? Mm-hmm. What are the trade channels being sold in? Are they very similar there? What is the sophistication of the consumer? Is this something that's kind of an impulse buy, or is this something where a consumer is going to take their time before purchasing the product? And the one thing to note is it's a sliding scale. So we're not just checking boxes, but rather sometimes one factor can weigh more than the other factors.
Yeah, they're given weights on what's important as a ratio. Yeah, that's very interesting.
So, for example, in the situation here, let's say there is another company with the name N-Fusor, but let's say they sell musical products. They sell speakers. They want to infuse sound into a party or into a room. Would a person be confused between N-Fusor, spelled a little different but pronounced the same, but selling a flavor injector, versus a company called N-Fusor that's in selling musical products and accessories? Yeah, I would argue no.
You just argue.
It might be in my DNA.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, because a person puts so much effort into your marketing, and you're trying so hard to develop that loyalty and that quality. Quality is a broad word, but so when somebody picks this up off the shelf, they have an expectation of, kind of everything, like the quality of the product when it's being used, maybe even the sauce that's in it, and kind of all kinds of things that go into that. And you've built your business, let's say with the inventor, it was his invention, building his business upon that, so that you get that customer loyalty getting in the door and paying money into your coffers, and you're doing more marketing and building up more recognition. And so it's a very important thing that you think of all those things in advance, right? Like how you're going to brand yourself and how you're going to protect your brand, and what what classes are you going to be in? Like, are you going to be in the music class? Or are you going to be in the consumable foods, whatever class? And so to be able to develop that and keep that long term is very important.
Oh, 100%. One thing that makes trademarks unique among themselves compared to patents and trademarks is trademarks have the potential to last forever, indefinitely. Copyrights last for the lifetime of the artist plus 70 years. Patents last for 20 or 15 years. Trademarks last forever, as long as you properly maintain it. So it's not about necessarily what your brand might mean today, but if you continue to use your brand name over time, you're going to develop fame. You're going to branch out into other products. It's really important that you pick a good name, you plan for success, and once you acquire these rights, you enforce these rights to preserve and protect your trademark so you can enforce it or license or sell it for good value.
Yeah, because there's been some along the line that have absolutely lost. Do you got any examples of those? I was thinking of, what was it?
Yeah.
Aspirin or
aspirin, Kleenex.
Yeah.
These are, they became generic because they allowed other competitors to continuously use it without enforcing their rights. Over time, they lost their rights. The more uses of a name, the more diluted it becomes.
And I think Xerox was a good example of that too, wasn't it?
Xerox
Because
is another good example.
people started saying, I'm going to Xerox this. And Xerox said, no, you're going to facsimile this or copy it. You're not Xeroxing it. And that is very good strategy. So you're defending what you've built over years. Because could you imagine now aspirin, when people go to the shelf, it's like, they're all kind of the same chemical formula-ish.
Right.
And there is no differentiation. So what does that do to your value of your product?
Devalues it. Yeah, you have to protect your rights. A lot of people, I think that's something that a lot of first-time intellectual property holders, they don't fully understand or appreciate when they get into it, is that there is no intellectual property police that's, surveilling, the marketplace. It's up to the owner. It's up to the patent holder. It's up to the trademark owner. It's up to the copyright holder to enforce their rights. And when it comes to trademarks specifically, if you don't enforce your rights, you're devaluing your rights. And if you don't enforce it timely, you lose the opportunity to enforce. So it is important to police the marketplace and enforce your rights if you need to.
Yeah, so I guess from the start, you want to come up with a really cool name. Take your time, and it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
Coming up with something. You can have a contest within your group, or you can think about it yourself and sleep on it and come up with something that's really unique. That's a little bit maybe descriptive, but it's like kind of that nice balance. So you get that in place, and then you get some use of it, and then, and Jeffrey can even help with kind of how you would want to prepare for putting an application in so you can show it being used in commerce and so forth. And so there's all these things you plan on. And then, like Jeffrey was saying, down the line, you're going to be policing it. So you want to have a plan for that. You might go out on the internet every 2 months or 2 years or whatever and say, let's just type in Infusor and we'll see if there's any little copycats out there, right? So it's really protecting your business.
Oh yeah, it's protecting your business because that's your trademark is the asset that really holds that goodwill of the business. If in the future you want to sell your business, the trademark oftentimes is the most valuable asset you have.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think whether it's patents or trademarks or copyrights, those are all very useful instruments to be selling. I would say if you end up, you're going to sell your marinade injection business with all the bookwork that goes along with it, and you've got a patent, and you've got a trademark, and you've got this branding value, and you're well known. That's a great package to put together.
Oh, exactly. You have a nice, robust IP portfolio.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts, Jeffrey, on anything that would be useful for our audience to know for branding, what they can do for fun and do for profit?
Yeah, well, have fun with the process. As Ed said, take the time to come up with a cool name, come up with a unique name, do your own research online, look at common marketplaces like Amazon, do Google searches, go about 2 or 3 pages deep, see what you see. Look on Facebook or Instagram. You could do those things on your own. If you see your exact name out there or another name that's pronounced the same as what you have, and they're selling very similar products or services, that's probably a sign that you would want to come up with something else that's more unique. You can add a word, you can change it up, but you don't want to, if you find that on your own, that's a good red flag to slow down. If you find something that looks clear, then I strongly recommend hiring a trademark attorney. We see things that we're trained to see, that we have experience to see, because that confusingly similar line is hard to identify. Having that trademark search done up front can save immeasurable heartache, frustration, lost time, and then it gives confidence in being able to market behind that product, knowing that you've done your due diligence.
Yeah, you're building on that firm foundation, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to share Jeffrey's information at the end if any of you folks want to reach out to him for any advice or work together on trademark work. That would be great. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, Jeffrey, for joining us. And
let's infuse some intellectual property out.
Yeah, exactly. Go have some fun. And like we always say, go to the inventorsarena.com website, join inventors groups, get together, be a group together and come up with a cool name for your product or your service. Always send us your suggestions for new content that you like. We always like to keep it fresh and new and what you want to hear, really. You're the important part of what we're doing. So like and subscribe for new content. Always appreciate the thumbs up and have a great day inventing and branding.
The Inventors.